We can outrun him now, Carlton said reasonably, his hand resting on the car. I guess, John said, but he did not sound convinced. You haven't changed either, you know. Jessica said with a certain satisfaction. Stop looking for problems where there aren't any. Still, he said, glancing back again, we should get out of here. I don't want to push our luck. See you all tomorrow then, Jessica said as they parted ways. Carlton gave a little wave over his shoulder. Charlie's heart sank a little as Jessica settled herself into the passenger seat, tightly buckling herself in. She had not been looking forward to this. It wasn't that she didn't like Jessica, just that being alone with her was uncomfortable. She still wasn't much more than a stranger, yet Charlie was still exhilarated from the night's adventure, and the lingering adrenaline gave her a new confidence. She smiled at Jessica. After tonight, they suddenly had something very much in common. Do you know which way the motel is? She asked, and Jessica nodded and reached for the purse down her feet. It was small and black with a long strap, and on the drive to the construction site, Shirley had already seen her remove a lip gloss, a mirror, a pack of breath mints, a sewing net, and a tiny hairbrush. Now she pulled out a small notebook and pen. Charlie smiled. Sorry, how much stuff do you have in that thing? She asked, and Jessica looked at her with a grin. The secrets of the purse must not be disclosed, she said playfully, and they both laughed. Jessica started reading Charlie the directions, and Charlie obeyed, turning left and right without paying much attention to her surroundings. Jessica had already checked in, so they went straight to the room. A small beige box of a room with two double beds covered in shiny brown spreads. Charlie set her bags on the bed closest to the door, and Jessica went to the window. As you can see, I splurged on a room with the view, she said, and flung the curtains open dramatically to reveal two dumpsters and a dried out hedge. I want to have my wedding here. Right, Charlie said, amused. Jessica's prim demeanor and fashion model looks make it easy to forget that she was smart as well. As a child, she remembered being slightly intimidated every time they got together to play before realizing, after the first few minutes, how much she liked Jessica. She wondered if it was hard for Jessica to make friends, looking the way she did, but it wasn't the kind of thing you could really ask someone. Jessica flopped on the bed, laying across it to face Charlie. So tell me about you, she said confidently, mocking a talk show host or someone's noisy mother. Charlie shrugged awkwardly, put on the spot. What does that mean? She said. Jessica laughed. I don't know. One awful thing to ask, right? I mean, how do you answer that? How about school? Any cute boys? Charlie lay down across the bed, mimicking Jessica's position. Cute boys? What are we, 12? Well, Jessica said impatiently. I don't know, she said. Not really. Her class was too small. She had known most of the people in it since she moved in with Aunt Jen and didn't anyone look at them like that. Staying forced and altogether unappealing. She told Jessica as much. Most of the girls that they want to date, they date older guys. She said, "You don't have an older guy?" Jessica teased. Nah, Charlie said. I figured I'd wait well for our batch to grow up. Right, Jessica burst out laughing after quickly thinking of something to share. Last year, there was this guy, Yanni, he said. I was gaga for him, like really. He was so sweet to everyone. He wore all black all the time, and he was this black, curly hair so thick that I could think about when I sat behind him. I was burying my face in it. I was so distracted I ended up with an A minus on Trig. He was super artistic, a poet, and he carried out one of those black leather notebooks, and he was always crumpling something in it, but he would never show anybody. She sighed dreamily. I figured if I could get him to show me his poetry, I would really come to know his soul, you know. So, did he ever? Charlie said. Oh, yeah, she said, nodding apathetically. I asked him out finally, you know, because He was shy and he was never going to ask me. And we went to the movies and made out a little. And then we went and hung out on the roof of his apartment building. And I told him all about how I want to study ancient civilizations and go on architectural digs and stuff. And he showed me his poems. And did you come to know his soul? Charlie said, excited to be included in girl talk, something she felt like she never really got into participate in before. Charlie nodded eagerly, but not too eagerly. She calmed herself as Jessica scooted forward to the bed to whisper. The poems were awful. I didn't know it was possible to be both melodramatic and boring at the same time. I mean, like, just reading them made me embarrassed for him. She covered her face in her hands. Charlie laughed. What did you do? What could I do? I told him I wasn't gonna work out, so I went home. Wait, right after he read his poetry, I still had the notebook in my hand. Oh no, Jessica, that's awful. He must have broken his heart. I know, I felt so bad, but it was like the words just came out of my mouth. I couldn't stop myself. Did he ever speak to you again? Oh yeah, he's perfectly nice, but now he takes statistics and economics and wears sweater vests. You broke him. Charlie threw a pillow at Jessica, who stood up and caught it. I know. He'll probably be a millionaire stockbroker instead of a starving artist, and it's all my fault, she grinned. Come on, he'll thank me someday. Charlie shook her head. Do you really want me to be an archaeologist? Yeah, Jessica said. Huh, said Charlie. Sorry, I thought. She shook her head. Sorry, that was really cool. He thought I wanted to do something in fashion, Jessica said. Well, yeah, it's okay, Jessica said. I did too. I mean, I do. I love fashion, but there's only so much of it, you know? I think it's amazing to think about how people lived in 1,000 years ago or 2,000 or 10. They're just like us, but so different. Like to imagine living in other times, other places. Wonder who I'll ever be. Anyway, what about you? Charlotte rolled over onto her back. Looking up at the ceiling, the tiles were made of loose, stained styrofoam, and the only one above her head was askew. I hope there aren't any bugs up there, she thought. I don't know, she said slowly. I think it's really cool that you know who you want to be, but I have just never had that kind of plan. Well, it's like you have to figure it out now, Jessica said. Maybe, Charlie said, but I don't know. You know what to do. John's known since he could hold a pencil that he wanted to be a writer and he's already getting published. Even Carlton. I don't know what he has planned, but I can just see that there's a scheme brought behind all his kidding around, but I just don't have that kind of direction. It really doesn't matter, Jessica said. I don't think most people know our age. Plus, I might change their mind or not get into college or something. You never knew what's going to happen. Hey, I'm gonna get changed. I'm gonna get some sleep. She went into the bathroom and Charlie stayed where she was, gazing at the sorry looking ceiling. She supposed it was becoming a defect. Her earnest refused to consider the best for her future. Live in the present moment, her Aunt Jen had often, and Charlie had taken it to her heart. Don't dwell in the past. Don't worry about things that may never happen. In eighth grade, she had taken a shop class, vaguely hoping the mechanical work might spark something of her father's talent, might unleash some uninherited passion laying land within her, but it had not. She had made a clumsy looking birdhouse for the backyard. She never took another shop class, and the birdhouse only attracted one squirrel who prompted knocking it down. Jessica came out of the bathroom wearing pink striped pajamas, and Charlie went to get ready for bed, changing and brushing her teeth hurriedly. When she came out again, Jessica was already under the covers with the light by her head turned off. Charlie turned hers off too, but The light from the parking lot still shone in from the window, somehow filtering past the dumpsters. Charlie stared up at the ceiling again, her hands behind her head. Do you know what's going to happen tomorrow? She asked. I really don't know, Jessica said. I know it's a ceremony at the school. Yeah, I know that, Charlie said. Were we going to have to do anything? Like, do they want us to speak? I don't know, Jessica said. What do you want to do? No, I was just wondering. Do you ever think about him? Jessica asked. Sometimes I try not to, Charlie said, half truthfully. She had sealed off the subject of Michael in her mind, locked him tight behind a mental wall she had never touched. It was an effort to avoid the subject, in fact. It was an effort to think of him now. What about you? She asked Jessica. Not really, she said. It's weird, right? Something happens, and it's the worst thing you can ever imagine. And it's just buried into you at the time. Like it's going go on forever, and then the years go by, and it's just another thing that happened. Not like it's not important or terrible, but it's in the past, just as not much as everything else, you know? I guess, Charlie said, but she did know. I just try to think about those things. Me too. You know, I just went to a funeral last week. I'm sorry, Charlie said, sitting up. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, Jessica said. I barely even knew him. He was just an old relative who lived 3 states away. I think I met him once, but I hardly remembered it. He mostly went for my mom's sake, but it was an old fashioned funeral parlor like in the movies, with an open coffin, and we all walked by the coffin, and when it was my turn, I looked at him, and he could have been sleeping, you know, just calm and restful, like people always say dead people look. There was nothing I could have pointed out that made me think dead. If you ask me, every feature of his face looked the same as if he were alive. His skin was the same, his hair was the same as if he were alive, but he wasn't alive. I just knew it. I could have known it immediately, if he wasn't, you know, in a coffin. I know what you mean. There's something about them when they're, Charlie said softly. I sound stupid when I say it, but when I looked at him, he looked so alive, and yet I just knew that he wasn't. It made my skin crawl. What's the worst thing, isn't it? Charlie said. Things that act alive but aren't? What? Jessica said. I mean, things that look alive but aren't, Charlie said quickly. We should get some sleep, she said. Did you set the alarm? Yes, Jessica said. Good night. Night. Charlie knew sleep was still a long way off. She knew what Jessica meant, probably better than Jessica did. The artificial shine and eyes that follow you as you move, just like a real person's would. The light lurch of realistic animals who do not move the way a living should do. The occasional programming glitch that made a robot appear to have done something new, creative. Her childhood had been filled with them. She had grown up in a strange gap between life and not life. It had been her world. It had been her father's world. Charlie closed her eyes. What did that world do to him?